just want to take this opportunity, from the data analytics standpoint. I work with these clinicians like this all the time, and these themes that just were pointed out is very common at every organization. A lot of times, like Dr. Jordan said, and Dr. Susan said, these issues are so large and so complex. You really can't just jump right in and fix it because you don't know where that problem is. There could be multiple areas of opportunities, but you don't have the resources again to attack all of them. So that's where I think this advantage that we have, really comes into play where, we work together and we partner together to look at these issues that you're bringing up. And then we look at all those buckets of opportunities and we use data to say, okay, it looks like we're doing fine here, here, and here. However, this bucket here, we're really short staffed on, techs. It really focuses in on where does the organization, where can these rural hospitals focus their money and resources to improve those areas? So I think every one of your points are very valid. The one thing I wanted to add to that was just the point of that value between analytics and the clinicians being able to solve that problem because it is so big, you just can't go after it. It's just too big of a mountain to tackle at once.
And I agree with that, actually, the value of analytics, because currently where I'm at, we're struggling. We're struggling to meet the needs, mainly because, and this is probably one of the biggest reasons why I was excited to join Advantage, is there is a disconnect. There's a disconnect between, what the clinicians and the providers are dealing with, what the leaders are seeing. We're seeing a lot of this, we're living the analytics, so to speak. We're living the issues, and we're seeing it from our standpoint. And we're saying, look, we can tell that these are the issues, and we know that the data will back us up. And there's this disconnect. And I think if we could come to the same agreement and look at the data and say, look, this is substantiating our experience. We need these many providers. We need to be actively working on this. That would move some of these pain points along. But there is that issue with sharing that common ground. And I think looking at the data would help support our experience.
You're absolutely right. And I can tell you, this is not commonly done across these healthcare organizations. You don't see normally you don't see that collaboration between clinicians and data analysts because they don't speak the same thing. They don't know each other's work. I think that's where I've kind of have found a lot of value in training up these analytics teams to take a step back. You don't have to become a clinician as a data analyst. You just have to be able to talk to them. Leverage the clinicians, let them help you understand the work processes and the workflows. And then you go pull the data. And that's where we're good at. That's where we can go pull the data and eliminate these perceptions of, yeah, last week we had a bad day with 15 patients had X. And I think that's where what you're saying is that's where I'm seeing the biggest benefit is when these clinicians work together with the analysts and clinicians understand, hey, I can't do the data analytics and the reporting side, but I have somebody that can. And then the data analyst saying, I can't do this without the clinicians because I don't know the first thing about how this workflow is. Once that marriage and that union happens, that's when the walls come down, and that's where I've seen the biggest success. And I can say that with working with Dr. Wellaway and Dr. J, we've done this at other places. This isn't anything new. The unfortunate part is you just are not seeing that at these rural hospitals. They just haven't got there yet. I think is the biggest piece of it. So.
Well, I've always, enjoyed and look back really fondly on our time working together, Aaron, and how we were able to kind of come together and start maybe speaking the same language or sharing. And I mean, I learned so much from you as far as kind of what you're seeing. And it really did help me go back to the bedside, my leadership, and help be this kind of translator and help really move things forward when we would kind of just stall out or people would have ideas, but then we didn't know how to move it forward. So I always appreciated your openness to talking with us and having these meetings and saying, okay, and I could show you what I was seeing because maybe I couldn't say it, but I could show you. And then when you saw what I was having issues with, then you could interpret it and then get me the information I needed. And that way we could keep making momentum instead of people just being constantly frustrated and feeling like, there's no hope. This is how it's just always going to be. And that's not the case.